the Dirty Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Port Hueneme, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Morning, man.
Morning.
We were just talking before the show how it's like all is well in the dirty sports talk. Jameis throws 3 more picks. He's benched. Dan Campbell makes a bonehead, head scratching decision, and here we are.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. Yesterday was it felt like the dirty sports take day comes true. Even me, like the big game for me, obviously I'm watching the big game in the afternoon with Steelers and Eagles, and I texted you and CT. I was like, watching Russ is giving me AIDS. Like the first half of that game, I was like, I'm turning on Bills Lions, and Bills Lions wasn't close in the first half, but I was like, I can't watch this. This is every take yesterday came true. What did you tell me? Did I go 13 for 14 against the spread yesterday?
Yeah, you made a push. There we go, guys. I think we're gonna have a little. Battle,
listen,
which I wanted.
Our pick'em league is one thing, but 13 for 14 and spread in any given week. After having another week where I went 1 for some highs and lows, I'm the Jameis Winston of picking games this year.
Yeah, you have been. I've been more steady. I think I've only had a couple bad weeks. I've been more 50 to 60%. I've been the Alex Smith of picking games.
I got to say, in our history, I think we're both well above 500. Like if you bet either one of us from day one of the show, like because we're both like throughout the year, we've both been like, I'd say I bet you. I mean, every year it comes down to like a game or two. I bet on average we're 1.5 games, 2 games over 500 every week. We're like 8 pick a week guys, typically 8-9 pick a week guys. Like over 10 years, that pays better than the S&P 500.
It's pretty consistent. Maybe I should actually gamble. I rarely.
Where guys go wrong is they gamble. They try to pick their games. They're like this game, and then
it's volume.
Yeah, that's why actually my NFL gambling strategy. I think I've talked about it before. Is essentially blackjack. Like the only way you make money in blackjack is doubling down and splitting and all those options you have where your value goes up and you can put a little bit more money on it. My strategy is essentially built around money line picks, money line dogs. Seeing value and being like, all right, I get better than 50-50 here.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL is obviously not the easy. There's games where you're like yesterday, I thought for sure I was like, oh, the Colts. I think the Colts will give them a game. And it was a bizarre game because the Colts were up 13-7. And Bo Nix was playing terrible. And then just how that game like unfolds, you're just like, the thing is, it's turnovers, man. Turnovers or special teams will flip a game.
Yeah.
On a dime.
Yep.
Which kind of sets the tone for a Jameis Winston or a Dan Campbell turnover special teams. It's like that's why obviously Jameis Winston will never be a starter because he's thrown 8 interceptions the last 3 games. And that's also why you've been real critical and understandably of Dan Campbell.
Here's a fun Jameis Winston fact, by the way. Jameis Winston didn't start until week 8. He's thrown 3 picks in I think his last 2 games. 2 games.
So he's thrown. I got his game log right here. He's thrown.
I think he has 3 3-pick games.
No, so he's gone 3, 2, 3.
Yeah. So I think he has 3 3-pick games on the year. Is that right?
No, I don't think so.
Well, either way, he's 1 3-pick game away from tying Kirk Cousins in picks for the year, and he didn't start until week 8.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, Kirk Cousins is bad, but Jameis Winston is next level bad. It'll never.
You are correct. I stand corrected. He has thrown 3 3-pick games since November 3rd.
Yeah.
And again, like that's the thing. Like you can have guys have bad games. We all know this. Guys have 2 3-pick games. Peyton Manning used to have some real bad games. Those guys used to have bad games. But like also it is different. You know, the league, you can't have too many of those.
No.
You can have about one bad 3-pick game in a season.
Like our boy, I think it was either our boy Jameis 1 or somebody else, but like I saw somebody yesterday refer to him as Black Favre. And here's the truth, Brett Favre doesn't start in today's NFL.
Yeah, I agree.
He doesn't. You can talk all about his great arm and his great mobility and his ability to make crazy throws and whatever. He doesn't start in today's NFL. If Josh Allen turned the ball over the way he did early in his career and did not also run the ball, he would have been benched. Like Brett Favre does not start in today's NFL. Now, you could say Brett Favre adjusts his game for today's NFL, and I think that that's totally possible, you know, and Peyton Manning and Eli Manning and Phillip Rivers and all those guys who came up in that era where throwing a pick wasn't nearly as big a deal. But I'm sure they all adjust their games for today. But Jameis plays today.
Mm-hmm.
Jameis is putting up beyond prime Favre interception numbers in an era where no one does it.
Yeah, 100%. He's
fucking
living,
terrible is what he is.
Well, I mean, it's like I'll be. I know you're not watching. I'll be curious how they cover it on Hard Knocks this week. Since last week again was the puff piece of him and his kids, and he's coming home, and they make him look like the all-American dad, all that stuff. It's like, well, you know, there's. You know what I find interesting though about him?
Yeah, and HBO loves to cut around stuff. Like what they're not telling you is half of Jameis Winston's kids have been kidnapped in his career. He only has half his kids. For the 3 kids he has, he also has 3 he lost in a supermarket parking lot by leaving the back door open.
I can actually totally see that. Do you think the teams have final say on the cuts and the edits?
I don't know. I'm sure. Here's what I'm sure of.
You don't see too much negativity ever on any of these Hard Knocks, is my point.
Well, I think that's one of those things where you're just playing ball with the league. If you do it, it ends. Right?
Okay.
Everybody lives in fear of the NFL.
Yeah.
Which is always weird to me because the TV deals, and obviously HBO doesn't have a TV deal. They're not broadcasting games, but I always find it interesting that Fox and ESPN and ABC and CBS and NBC like suck the NFL's dick when it's like the NFL is great.
They need you.
Yeah. They need
that's
the TV.
Yeah, it is bizarre.
But
you are the one paying them.
I can guarantee you if somebody says something on camera and before the edit, somebody from the team goes, "Hey, we don't want that in," it 100% comes out.
And that's all I'm saying. Is like, are we going to see, you know, any sort of even in-team strife with the coach and the players? It's like you don't really see like Like, I'll be curious, does Hard Knocks jump into whatever exchange happened with Burrow and Zach Taylor this week, and Taylor or Burrow going off, and I don't even know if he was necessarily going off on him, but he was clearly upset. Or you didn't see really anything with George Pickens and Mike Tomlin. It's like I don't know. Which stinks because it's like you're not giving full access
Right.
to what's really going on, but it's not surprising. So let's go to that Lions game.
Let's go to the videotape. Does that mean anything to you?
What's that from?
He was a
Remind me.
Warner Wolf. He was a I don't know if was he a full on. I guess he might have been a full on New York local broadcaster, but he was like a like, you know, local news sports guy. So like he'd go to the highlights and be like, Giants beat the Eagles today 27-13 at the Meadowlands. Let's go to the videotape. And they roll the clip.
Well, I think that's what we need to do here. We need to go to the tape of Dan Campbell. We knew they were going to come back. At least I think I did. Like, I think a lot of people was like, hey, they're going to come back. They're down 21. It's the first half. They're going to come back. They're going to make a push. They have a great offense. He decides to do an onside kick with 12 minutes left in the game, and they're only down 10.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
It's like I saw a post somebody said, and again, it's a very accurate post. It said he's the reason they are 12-2, and somebody also wrote he's also the reason they will not win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I said before the show, half jokingly, he's the Jameis Winston of coaches. High, low lows. You're like, oh my God, look what he's doing. Everybody loves him. They're rallying around him. He's kind of retarded, but everybody seems to love it. And then he single-handedly cost you games. And, you know, it's so funny because it feels like there's this new trend of coaches to be hyper-aggressive, but year in and year out, the hyper-aggressive coach meets the regular old coach at some point in the playoffs and loses. I mean, Andy Reid is Mr. Conservative at this point.
He is.
Compared to everybody. And he wins every year. Listen, I'm a Giants fan. And I remember, like, clear as day, watching the NFC Championship game in San Francisco, the 2011 season, and being like, do we have to go for this? And you're like talking to somebody, do we go for it? Oh, do we go for it here? And Tom Cobb's like, we punt. And in that game, they got 2 punt fumbles. You know what I mean? In the Super Bowl, there's so many of those moments where it's like, in the end, the conservative guys tend to win. I mean, Belichick, again, another super conservative guy.
I was going to bring him up. Yeah, it's true.
And it goes back to the same thing I said. And you know, we had a faceless dirtball, the dog is his PFP in our mentions, you know, in our DMs, because it's never, you know, somebody who's like, I stand by my opinion. It's like, you guys shit on fucking Dan Campbell, blah, blah, blah. It's like, how else do you take it if you're his defense when you onside kick there, other than, I fucking don't believe in you. I don't believe in you to get one stop today. I don't fucking believe in you. I assume he says that. I assume he gets everybody together and he goes, hey, for you guys who are on kickoff team and who play on the defensive side of the ball, I don't fucking believe in you. So we're going to onside kick.
Obviously, you know, the Lions have turned it around, and I've been, you know, congratulatory on that. And like I said, I mean, I think I was wrong on the Campbell turnaround, but I agree with your sentiment, especially with the conservative coaches. If you look at the history, and you're right, Andy Reid is definitely more conservative. There was an interesting moment. I don't know if you saw this in last night's Packers Seahawks game. They get the pass interference call before the half ends. And I believe there was 4 seconds left. At the time, the Packers were up 17-3. And I think the ball was moved to the 3 or 4 yard line. And that was the brief discussion on with the announcers was like, hey,
you take points off the board.
Yeah, it's like we got one play. are they going to try to just push it in for the touchdown to basically end the game in a way, right? You go up 3 touchdowns, or do you take 3 points? You're on the road and go up to the half 20-3. And I think that's a prime example of, LaFleur goes for the field goal. Like he brings out the team. He tries to call them offside, or tries to get them to jump to say maybe we'll change it if the ball is closer. They don't get it, and they kick the field goal, and they go in a half 20-3. Where you and I both know Dan Campbell's going for a touchdown there.
Yeah. And listen, 12-2, number 1 seed in the NFC.
Sure.
Also, Eagles now 12-2. You can talk all you want about the turnaround and how great it is and whatever. If one fucking Dan Campbell here and one fucking Dan Campbell there takes you out of a dome and makes you play in Philadelphia outside in January, you're in fucking big trouble.
You are in big trouble.
I like the Lions in a potential Lions-Eagles NFC Championship game. Not that I think that's going to be the NFC Championship game, but if it went 1-2, I'd like the Lions at home inside. I like them a lot less on the road.
Yeah, I agree.
Without a week off.
And for the record, I'm not personally saying the onside kick lost them that game. They couldn't stop Josh Allen, but it definitely changes the trajectory of that game.
But also, it just sets a tone with your, like, there's multiple times this year where you just straight up say, I don't believe in our defense. When, like, you can do all the fucking, you can do all the inspirational speeches that you want, but your actions always speak louder than your words. I had a fucking ex that that would say, I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. And then went through my phone every single second. If I left it for 2 seconds out of my eyesight, grabbed it, going through it. You don't trust me. You could stand in the middle of a room with a football and be like, I don't trust anybody more than I trust this defense. But every opportunity you tell them, I'm afraid to put you on the field, you don't trust your defense.
Yeah, now their defense has absolutely been decimated by injuries. So maybe he shouldn't trust them.
Next man up. That's fucking football.
Yeah, well, I was going to say.
Actually, I would say it's the opposite. I would say you have to, if you're truly a good motivator, you've got to trust in those guys more than you trusted in your defense when they were whole. You got to be like, if we're going to win the fucking Super Bowl, you guys are going to have to get some stops. And today, in an essentially meaningless game, go fucking do it. Because sometime you're going to have to do it in the playoffs. But if you don't ever put your defense in that position and then you just ask them to get a stop in a fucking NFC Championship game or in a Super Bowl, how's that going to fucking go?
Yeah, I mean, look, yesterday, it is it's really interesting now, right? Because, like you said, you got the Eagles with the same record. Lions have the tiebreaker right now. You have 3 games left. And you also still have Minnesota. I don't know what chances they have. They have 2 losses. Obviously, they'd have to beat the Lions. I think they play again. But I feel like, dude, both you and I agree home field advantage is way more important to the NFC teams than the AFC teams. Do you agree? I feel that way.
I would say it's way more important to certain, I think if you're the Eagles or you're the Lions or you're the Vikings or you're the Packers, that home field advantage is way more important to you than the Chiefs or the Bills.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters as much to the Chiefs and the Bills.
I wouldn't be super trusting in Russell Wilson taking the Steelers on the road. I wouldn't be super trusting in Justin Herbert going west to east in a playoff game. So, now you can say, yeah, those guys aren't necessarily like typically, like, I don't think universally considered like real Super Bowl contenders, but I mean, they're in the mix.
You know who's going to be a scary team if they play how they can. And we talk about taking care of the ball. If Baker Mayfield can take care of the ball, is the Bucs. People forget they beat the Lions this year, and they played them tough as hell last year in the playoffs in Detroit. They absolutely put an ass whooping on the Chargers yesterday. That's a game I missed.
Yeah.
I mean, they absolutely just beat the shit out of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a team you don't want to face. I mean, neither of us would be surprised if the Bucs upset somebody.
Well, also you're an NFC South team. Somebody's got to win the NFC South, right? So
Yeah.
they're going to have a home game.
If they win it, yeah.
I mean, are they like clear favorites to win the NFC South at this point?
Well, they're in first place. If Atlanta wins tonight, they're a game up on Atlanta. But yeah, they would have a home game. I mean, season ends today. They play the Packers in week one of the playoffs. That'd be a fun playoff game.
Yeah.
Packers are definitely another team that nobody wants to play.
Yeah. It'd be a fun playoff game. I like the Packers, but I'd be scared of the Bucs for sure. That's not a rollover game.
Yeah. It's definitely not. I have to laugh. I had to tell you this. When this guy said this, I was like, what? Well, first of all, the experience yesterday at Kroger, this is all happening at Kroger, like 9 a.m.
Tales
Sunday.
from Kroger.
First of all, I see some dude in full Eagles gear. And I'm just like,
punching a woman. just fucking Flintstone style, has her hair in his hands, fucking wha-bam, wha-bam, wha-bam.
He was actually,
I'll tell you what he wasn't doing, reading. He wasn't thumbing through a magazine at on the checkout line at Kroger.
So that made me think of you at first when I saw that. I'm like I said, head to toe, full Eagles gear. His lady was in full Bengals gear. I was like, this is an interesting dynamic. And then as I move over, and then I get to the picking up some Honeycrisp apples there for the fam, a little grocery shopping Sunday morning. There's a guy in full Bucs gear, and he's talking to some other guy, and he's like, "Oh, are you Bucs fan?" And the guy's like, he's like, "Yeah, man, I've lived in Cincinnati the last 20 years, but born and raised Tampa." The other guy's like, "Yeah, me too, man. I'm here now." And and they're like we got one with Brady. And then the guy in full Bucs gear goes, "Yeah, but I don't really count that one." He goes, "I really wanted Jameis to get one." And it took I'm like standing between. It took everything for me, Prano, not to like hop in. And I was like, "Don't do it." He said, "I don't count the Brady one. I really wish Jameis would have got." I want to be like, "Dude, Brady's the reason you got that one." What?
It's Jameis is to football what Carmelo is to basketball. There'll never be an explanation for why people stand him so fucking hard.
It's so bizarre.
I truly think it's based in the same thing, which is college sports fans that bonered out over them winning a championship, winning whatever, and just like not being able to let that go. Be like, they're going to go to the NBA or the NFL. They're going to be fucking great there. This guy's fucking... I mean, essentially Ethan, heavily invest out of college, bites you in the ass financially and emotionally.
Yeah, it's wild. Something I have to bring up that's been bothering me watching these games, though. We gotta stop celebrating a normal first down when our team's 5-8. To me, there's nothing. As I watch these games, there's nothing more pathetic than the guy who makes the third down stop on defense, or the guy who gets the 3rd and 8 catch for first down, And you know what? To be honest, you don't even have to be on a losing team. I don't know, but to me, it's more pathetic when your team sucks and you finally make a play. You're like, but you see this every single game.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be a act like you've been there before, like boomers will say, or they always love saying, Barry Sanders just tossed the ball, which whatever, like you can do that too. But my main point, I'm not against celebrations at all, and I'm not against passion and energy in the field. I just think you look like a clown when your team sucks and you're doing a dance because you ran the ball 3 yards in 33.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And I've always said, listen, the thing about touchdown celebrations that were so great back in the day is it was reserved for touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like you only got to celebrate if you scored a touchdown. Like, to me, the like this, when you like deflect the pass with your hand, the no, the Mutombo, cool. When you deflect it with your hand, like when Jameis overthrows a guy by 8 yards, you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
The celebration when the pass gets overthrown, or the first down on a losing team when you run for 4 on 3rd and 3, or God forbid everybody mans their battle stations in a nuclear sub because your team got an interception and one guy's on the periscope and then another 2 guys are turning the nuclear key and one guy's watching the radar. He's got the headphones on and you're like, maybe your team sucks because you took 45 minutes to lay the blueprints out of a nuclear sub and then give everybody a position.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I just
but just like also the first down, just like point, you got a first down, you point first down if you're on a good team and it was a big moment in the game.
But the like this on the first down, like you're like, dude, you guys are 5 and 8, man.
Yeah.
Like you suck. But that I don't know how I could put that in modern context. Like for just normal people. I was trying to think of a comparison or an analogy yesterday, and I was watching the games, but I see it all the time now, and you just go, dude, you didn't do anything. Your team sucks.
The modern analogy is the turning around of the tip screen. Like, bitch, you work at McDonald's. You serve me McDonald's. Like,
oh, dude.
Like,
don't
I'm gonna go ahead and hit you with the fucking tip screen, and I'm like, the tip screen. I'm a tipper. I've always been a tipper.
Yeah, same here.
When I'm poor, I'm a tipper.
Yeah.
I tip Uber drivers. I tip Uber Eats. I tip cab drivers. I tip the fucking baggage guy at curbside pickup. I tip everybody. Dude, you get 20% if you make it through my dinner upright as a waiter. If you don't collapse onto my table and take out my food, you're very likely getting 20%. You might get more if you're like a good waiter or waitress. When you work a job that has it built in, you don't get a tip. Like I can't give you $1 for. You work at Petco. Who's a tip going to?
Yeah.
They're like, you want to donate to dead dogs? And I'm like, oh fuck. And I got to tip you too? Everybody in this motherfucking place is getting a tip.
I actually asked somebody recently when I did carry out. And I said to her, I said to the hostess, I said, who's getting this? She was laughing. She wasn't bad. I was curious. She didn't shove it in my face. I said, let me ask you something. I said, on this tip portion, I said, I'm just picking up food. You just brought it out from the kitchen. I said, who sees this? He was actually, it's just me. So I said, the guy who cooked my food, my family, doesn't get any. She goes, no, it's just me. So I said, okay. I said, so what's the standard for this? She goes, well, most people doing it from like 5 to 10%. And I'm thinking, like, I'm not like mad about doing that, but I'm also like, You literally, I see the kitchen.
Yeah.
That guy cooked it, put it in a bag. You walked it from there to here and handed it to me.
Those for me. And listen, here's another aspect.
And I'm giving you let's say I'm giving you $4, $5 for that.
Here's another aspect of it. Like with COVID and everything, like everybody does takeaway now. Like the idea of going, like half those restaurants, you'd make a lot more if you were a waitress, but now you don't. But like, obviously, this is why we should shoot more CEOs. They don't fucking adjust for that, and they completely, abuse their workers and all like let them essentially work a job where they would have gotten tips for no tips. But to me, if I'm doing pickup, if I'm picking up an order I placed on the phone or placed online, it is not percentage based in any way, shape, or form. It's a couple bucks.
Yeah.
If it's $66, I might make it 70.
Sure.
If it's $32, I might make it 35. I might just
and that's
go
fair.
$2 tip, $1 tip. The idea of this being a percentage base, like, is ludicrous. But that's the thing.
I agree.
That's the thing. The guy in the kitchen is the quarterback who overthrew the football, and you're the defensive back being like, yeah. I'll go ahead and turn this around. You can answer a couple questions for me.
Well,
honestly, that would be a great celebration for a defensive back who just knows that these celebrations are ridiculous to do the flip the tip screen celebration. Just get in the receiver's face. I need you to answer a couple questions here before we go. I always like how it's to answer a couple questions too. It's not the SATs. I'm gonna need you to tip me. If you said that also, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna need you to answer a couple questions. Cool. If I get these 3 trivia questions right, is my fucking pizza free?
I'm just picturing, Europeans coming here for the first time. And they're just their mind blown since tipping's not a thing over in Europe. And they're like, yeah, man, we knew you had to tip waiters and bartenders in America. They're like, what? I just went to CVS.
And then it's weird. It's weird how many people then there's people that should be able to get America's fucked, dude. Then there's people who should be able to get tipped that are not able to. You can't tip the guy who bags your groceries. Like all the supermarkets are like, nah, you can't tip them. I'm like, why can't I tip them? They're like, no, you can't tip them. I'm like, I want to tip this guy. This guy bagged my fucking groceries.
Dude, I did Kroger pickup recently. And so the dude brings out obviously your groceries. I threw him $5. Dude, you would have thought I threw him 500. He's like, really? I go, people don't. He's like, no. I said, dude, whether it was you, somebody put these together, brought them out to my car. You put them in my car. That's a service. I'm literally just sitting in a fucking curbside pickup. Yeah, take $5, man. I think that's probably one of the ones too, like you're talking about, the grocery store.
I always base it too on like when I delivered pizza, I made fucking dough. And it was based the fucking pizza place gave me $3 a delivery plus tips. And so I would go, and dude, if I got $5, I was like, this is great. Because if I do 10 deliveries or 8 deliveries an hour, I'm making like between $65 and $80 an hour. Cash. And then, like, God forbid, I brought like 5 pizzas to somebody and they threw me like 20 or 50, or like the time I would go out in the snow and you'd get like $100. You'd be like, dude, I'm going to a strip club. fucking teenage Joey Pizza Boys fucking showing up with fucking dough. Fucking
strippers like, where are you? Are you a tech guy? Are you one of the Silicon Valley tech guys?
I deliver calzones, bitch. I'm gonna get this fucking sausage calzone.
Bitch, you smell that pepperoni on my breath?
Yeah. But to me, it was always like, even if I got like $3, if I got $3 plus the $3 they gave me, it's like, dude, I mean, I delivered back in the day, pizzas were $15 or like whatever. It's like, you throw me a couple extra bucks, like. So I always keep that in mind. It's like, that's my basis. But like, if I order $100 worth of Uber Eats, you don't get $20.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's like the order that order on Uber Eats has no bear. Like they didn't do more work. Whereas, right, if you're a waiter, and I waited tables for years, the bigger the order, the more work it was for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't. If you're Uber Eats, it's the same work. You're putting it in your car and driving.
Yeah.
It's same exact thing. Yeah. No, I feel you. Sometimes I want to tip the garbage man. I'll be honest. I mean, those guys.
I think that's a standard thing. Hit your garbage man around Christmas.
That's what I'm saying. Like those guys deal with some shit. Not the recycling people here, because those guys are assholes. I don't know why it's different here in the city of Cincinnati. The garbage dudes are my homies. The recycling people, they're dicks.
Oh, recycling's a sham. So,
Well, yeah.
So,
my dad was saying that for years, and I was always like, okay, well, now I'm like,
I mean, it's good in theory, but it's just for you to feel good about yourself.
I think he was pretty much right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not a sham, but America sucks balls.
So MVP.
It's Josh Allen. It's close, right? At this point, who's in the conversation?
Well, look, and again, like I think you have to bring up, and maybe that's neither here nor there. Previous years, it's like I said this last week. I said, well, Lamar Jackson's stats are better than they've ever been in those 2 MVP seasons. He threw 5 more touchdowns yesterday. I know his team's 9-5, and Josh Allen's team is 12-2 or 11-3. I mean, but look, I agree. I think Josh Allen's the MVP. But my point is, it's a fair argument. The Lamar Jackson argument is fair because they don't have a good defense. They're winning games because of Lamar Jackson.
I mean, how do they match up statistically from like? Let me have a look at this.
I think Lamar kicks his ass in stats too. Realistically, if you pull it up here.
I mean, how is that even possible? Like when you look at, to me, it's a no-brainer that it's Josh Allen, and actually, I would say Lamar's previous history doesn't matter to me at all because.
Okay, so Lamar, but that's what I'm saying. Lamar has more passing yards, 9 more touchdowns thrown, less interceptions, higher touchdown percentage, higher completion percentage. Like Lamar owns him in every stat. More rushing yards. That's why I'm saying I do think it's an interesting discussion. You know, and 34 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Josh Allen's 25-5. Now they both have great running games to support them for sure. The Bills have a better defense. I don't know. Look, I think it's Josh Allen too. But maybe I'm part of the problem of like, do we have Lamar fatigue? He's already won 2. Is this
well, there's you also have to do and it's we do it, but the league never does it. The voters never do it. But I just go trade them. Just trade them for one another.
You're talking in general, this 2024 season. What are we talking
right now,
here?
Tomorrow. Trade them. What does Vegas say if you trade them? Do Bills odds go down and Ravens odds go up? Now, if tomorrow you traded Josh Allen to the Eagles for Saquon Barkley, the Bills odds would plummet, right?
Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't. Do you think it would really matter that much? You'd be sending Lamar to a team with a better defense.
Has Lamar been on teams with good defenses?
The number one defense last year, many times. But look, and I've been critical of Lamar come playoff time. I'm just saying, like, if you look at again side by side, if I had a vote, I would vote for Josh Allen. But this all goes back to the team, and we all talk about the quarterback's wins and losses are not an individual stat or team stat. Like I know it's part of it. That's all I'm saying. Like let's say the Ravens win their division. Okay. They're only a game back of the Steelers. They play them this week too. So basically, the Ravens have to win that game. If the Ravens lose that game, they're probably not going to win the division. Let's say the Ravens win the division.
We all agree quarterback's the most important position in football by a landslide, right?
100%.
And right now, the Ravens are behind the Steelers, who are starting their second quarterback of the year and pick two guys up off the trash heap. So we're also playing a hypothetical of, let's say the Ravens win the division. Why aren't the Ravens winning the division?
No, that's fair. It's the most important position. He's also having a great. I mean, it's. You can make the same argument. Like, look at the statistical year Burrow's having.
Yep,
they're 2 games below 500. It's like it's the most important position. There is 21 other guys in the field, though. I'm making an argument for Lamar in the situation. You're just saying I don't give a fuck about those stats.
Well, I'm just saying, the stats are important, but like if we did that just every year, we'd be fucked.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying to do it every year. I'm just trying to bring in this discussion, all these things of Lamar just won it last year. He's already won 2. Josh Allen's never won it.
Listen, I have absolutely no basis for this, but like Josh Allen played great yesterday against the NFC's 1 seed. Like, show me their 5 games against their toughest opponents.
I get you. You're saying Lamar played great against the Giants.
Yeah, 5 touchdowns against the Giants. Fucking. And what other games does he have? You know what I mean? Like, oh, their defense isn't good, so now there's more opportunities.
No, I see your point. You're saying now when the Ravens played the Steelers, I don't think the Ravens score a touchdown. Is kind of the argument of like, dude, they're playing a good team. They can't score a touchdown. Now, Josh Allen has a lot more rushing TDs.
A lot more?
I just see here in the comment section 8 more. But
I mean, that's huge. That pulls them even on.
By the way, I'm a Josh Allen guy. I am number one Josh Allen guy here. I will vote for him if I had a vote. I'm just saying a lot of those are like
total TDs. They're 1 apart.
Well, a lot of those are the 1 yard. Just the Jalen Hurts thing. It's the Bills tush push. I'm not taking that away because you still got to get in the end zone. It's all an interesting discussion. I mean, look at Saquon Barkley on the Eagles. If you take some of these 1 yard tush push and you give them to Saquon, and you're like, whoa, dude, he's got how many touchdowns now?
Right. And Nick Sirianni's a piece of shit for not doing that. But I would say that this is the single time in the history of Patrick Mahomes' career in the NFL where I can honestly say I can make an argument if you gave me Team X and I could pick anybody to be the quarterback, I might take Josh Allen. I'm not saying that'll hold true till next year or 3 years from now. I mean, no doubt about it. If you told me I have to pick one quarterback to build my franchise on for the next 10 years, I'm still taking Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But this might be the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career where I would say, give me Team X. Give me a team that's going to give me the Minnesota Vikings, who we all agree have been great despite the fact that they're doing it with Sam Darnold. And so you have the Vikings going into the playoffs. You could take any quarterback in the league to be your starter. I can make an argument that I would take Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think you can make an argument that you'd take Mahomes, but I don't think you can make an argument you take anybody else.
He's been playing great. What do you do if you're the Chiefs right now? You're 13-1. You got a game on. Are they one of the we start doing Saturday games this week. Are they a game on Saturday and
then Wednesday?
And then Wednesday.
Honestly, playing on Christmas Day is whack. I'll just say it. If Christmas Day doesn't fall on a Thursday or Saturday or Sunday, playing on Christmas Day is whack. It would be so terrible if the Chiefs, like if Patrick Mahomes is like a hobbled Wednesday start because you want to compete with like the NBA who's planted their flag on Christmas Day. I think it's whack. This is one of those things where I'm like, it hurts you more than it helps you. What are you doing?
Well, my point is they have 6 days rest. They're two games up. The number one.
They're 2 games up on the Bills?
Yeah. They're 2 games up. There's only 3 games to go.
What's the Bills record?
11-3.
Okay. So they're a proper 2 games up.
They're proper 2 games up is my point.
Yeah.
They get Houston at home, and Christmas Day they are at Pittsburgh. So my point.
This is why the NFL is dumb. Because I bet you there's like a directive that they can't sit them.
You think it would go that far?
I don't know. But it's like you're going to play Christmas Day games and then guys are going to get benched.
But you know my point is they would lose the tiebreaker if the Bills and them finished the same record.
Right.
But it is a question mark of like how important is home field for them versus Patrick Mahomes' health. An ankle takes time. My thing is, do you just sit Mahomes the next 2 games and take your chances? Do you trust your defense? And I would. You're at home against the Texans, and then you go to Pittsburgh, whose offense can be very sus at times. Do you say, hey, we just got to split one of those games and then close out the regular season? Because the Bills have an easier schedule.
Yeah. I mean, you're asking me. If I was Andy Reid, it would be long conversations with Patrick Mahomes because it's like, dude, this is a year you need him healthy.
They need him more than I totally agree.
And maybe you need the home field more than you've ever needed it.
Yeah,
maybe not, but maybe.
I feel like they do. I feel like this is the year.
Well, they have home field against. Even if it were to go, they're going to have home field against anybody but the Bills. But that's the team that the Bills have an exceptional home field advantage.
Yeah,
like if it was like, oh, they're, and they might, if they don't play their cards right, they might have to go to Baltimore for AFC Championship game. It's like, okay.
Well, look, they went to Buffalo and Baltimore last year, won both those games.
Josh Allen's playing at a different level than he was last year.
He is.
Team's different.
I don't know. I would be more inclined, like, dude, I don't know what your health is, to sit him the next 2 games. I don't know who their backup is. Who we got here? Carson Wentz.
Well, you also can write, so they have 3 games left, correct?
Yeah.
So theoretically, you could sit him this game, and then all of a sudden he's got a 11-day layoff or whatever. He plays on a Wednesday, then has another
That's true.
10-day layoff before a final game should you need him.
It's a good point. I mean, look, this is you talk about a league directive possibly. This is Christmas Day on Netflix. This is like their little prize gem. They're paying a lot of money for this game. Netflix is. I don't think that exists, to be honest. I don't think they're going that far.
This is where the NFL draws the line.
I'm not saying they're drawing the line. I just don't think. I mean, look, nothing would surprise me.
What's up? We have video of a guy beating the shit out of his wife in an elevator. Have you guys thought about burning it before you come to me with that conversation? What the fuck are we doing here? Hey, Kamish, got a pretty in-depth study about how CTE is causing all of our players to be brain damaged murderers. Cool. How much money is it going to cost for me to get that doctor disbarred?
So they're saying, hey, Mahomes got to play. It's Christmas
They might be
Day.
saying, hey, you're thinking about benching him. Bench him this fucking week.
I mean, what Taylor Swift front and center for that game? It's Christmas Day.
Yep.
We want all the people out, except for his brother.
Although, does Taylor Swift? I wonder if Taylor Swift spends her Christmas at a football game. Feels like Taylor Swift spends her Christmas having slaves make her cookies while she drinks hot chocolate with 2 hands.
I met like
We do a fun thing every year. It's a white elephant. I bring all of my staff from the tour, and then they get fun gifts. Like ugly sweaters. Some fucking truck drivers like, bitch, you made $5 billion this tour. What if white elephants like cars?
I bet she's at the game. I bet she's there. I know it was one game, man, but that Chargers, they're really not looking good lately. Started running a little cold on them, making any noise in the playoffs.
Well, I think we both agreed it was probably a little early for them, but west to east, man. Where do they sit right now? What would their first round matchup be?
So they're 8-6. They have the last 7 seed. It'd be at the Bills.
Yeah, I mean that's not what you want. Who's the 3 seed right now?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you want Pittsburgh. You want
Houston.
You probably want Kansas City more than you want Buffalo.
I agree. I think you do. 100% because it's in division.
It's in division. It's a lot closer. Three times.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, look, the Broncos have won 9 games. It's amazing.
The Broncos are currently the 6th seed.
Yeah, they get the Steelers. I think that's a toss-up game.
5 seed right now would be the Ravens.
Mm-hmm. If the D can play decent, they're a team I wouldn't want to play either.
The Broncos?
The Ravens.
Oh, yeah.
Like, is this the year where Lamar doesn't have the D and he finally puts together some playoff victories on it, like with him leading the charge?
I'm going to go with a hard no.
Really?
Yeah. You come around on Lamar.
I'm not saying I fully come around. We gotta see. Postseason what matters. I'm impressed how he's playing.
I think that I think a phenomenal job in the getting of Derrick Henry and
For sure.
having that, and it's like their blueprint was good, except for the fact that their D is bad. Like if they were like grinding people down, if they had Pittsburgh's D and their offense. Now I'm interested.
Yeah. No, I know. It's look. Maybe for Lamar it helps him flying under the radar a little with the team not being as good. Who knows? Sometimes that helps guys where the expectations aren't as high.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I just think, with me, we have 3 weeks to go. I watched that game last night, and you and I said Packers. I think we both picked the Packers to make the Super Bowl. And it's like, if their D can play like they did last night, and they can remain turnover free, the Josh Jacobs pickup was great. It was great.
Yeah.
They're just running the ball last night, man. Then you just rely on your quarterback when you have to.
It's weird because I didn't really like that move for them because I was like, oh, your running game was pretty good the last couple of years, and you weren't paying the guys and you were doing running back by committee. So I didn't really love the higher paid running back, but you still do have a young quarterback. It's the Saquon thing. It's like it helps. It just doesn't help you win a Super Bowl.
Where is Alex from Kentucky? Where is he at? The Titans losing again. Will Levis benched for Mason Rudolph.
Whack-a-mole.
10. By the way, I couldn't stop laughing. Our boy Justin Wood sent me a text. He's like, Vrabel must be laughing watching this game. 10 turnovers between the Bengals and Titans. 10 in the shouldn't be a head coach bowl. 10 turnovers in one game.
I don't think Mike Vrabel's watching that game.
You think he's an NFL coach next year?
Yeah. So I think he's probably watching a game of a team he might coach.
Would you want him coaching the Giants? What's your take on that?
Well, I'm not 100% out on Dable, but this year was not good for my, belief in Dable. But I think Vrabel greater than Dable. So if that were the move, I'd probably be fine with it.
So you guys are number 1 right now.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. You moved to number 1.
Yeah.
Depending what happens tonight with the Raiders.
I hope they win. I want to do the Eli Manning all over again. I want.
Who's the guy?
Well, I want to draft Shador and trade him to the Raiders. That's what I want to do.
Are you being serious?
Yeah. I want to have a pre-draft trade.
Look, I don't really know Shador's game that well, but he does have a Raiders vibe.
Oh,
what?
I mean, yeah,
he's got a Raiders vibe to him.
100%.
And then what would you want to do? Just take a different quarterback, or just wait and be shitty again?
You know what I'd honestly like? I'd like to take Shador. We'll take Shador. Okay. You take the Raiders. You take Travis Hunter. You keep Hunter. We'll give you Shador. And you just give us your first round picks till the end of time. You give us every one of your first round picks till 2047. Al Davis just jizzed on himself.
You know, I don't believe in Shador. Again, I don't follow college games, so maybe I shouldn't be speaking on this. I just feel like he's part of the Dion hype, and Dion's like such a great marketer.
I haven't watched enough college football to weigh in. I haven't watched enough college football to know if the kid from Miami is legit or this kid's legit or that kid's legit. I mean, what do I really want? You want
Army's quarterback.
I want Archie and John Mara and Goodell to get into a room somewhere and come up with yet another plot to save the Giants like they've done so many times and figure out a way for Arch to declare this year. And then we trade down and we take him later because who's taking a guy who played like 4 games?
Yeah. I mean, as it stands, what do we have here? Giants, this is as of right now. Giants, Raiders, Patriots, Jags, Panthers, Titans, Browns, Jets, Bears, Saints are your top 10. It's your top 10 picks. I think there's going to be a lot of question marks after this season for a lot of these teams. A lot of teams that you're like, what's the coach situation? What's the quarterback situation? I mean, sitting right there is outside the top 10. You have the Dolphins at 11, the Colts at 12. I think you have some QB situation questions right there. The 49ers at 15th. I mean, what do they do with Brock? What's that contract? What do we, how do they revamp the team? A lot of questions.
A lot of questions. Here's a question for you, Andy, because I'm friends with a couple delusional Eagles fans. But of course, one of my delusional Eagles fans friends was texting me yesterday about the Giants game, which I told him I'm not watching.
I didn't watch a second of it.
I was like, I'm watching games that matter. He was like, I'm basking in this. And I was like, I know, because there's never been a more insecure fan base in the history of sports than the Eagles. So, of course, you're watching a 2-win Giants team get boat raced because we live inside your head. And I was like, it's because our success as a franchise just like haunts you. You get up at fucking 10 a.m. West Coast time, and you're like, I got to put on the worst game of the week, the one with the biggest spread, because our franchise is so much more successful than you. And he said this to me. The Eagles are a more successful franchise than the New York Giants. And I was like, I don't even know how one, besides being delusional, would come to do that. And I was just like, I wonder what would happen if I put in most successful NFL franchises.
So he's saying historically through.
He's just saying, a more successful franchise. And he's like, you're terrible right now. And I was like, okay, the Patriots are terrible right now, but they have 7 Super Bowls. Like, they're a more successful franchise.
So if I put it into Google, and
it does what everybody with a brain would do. It tells you the teams that won the most Super Bowls.
Well, they're doing AI, but it is interesting. You'd be shocked at here's what they're combining. This is what Google does. They're combining Super Bowl wins, championships, and franchise valuation, which is kind of interesting. So this is how they list them in order in Google. Again, this is AI generated.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have seen this. They go Patriots, Steelers, Packers, Cowboys, Rams, Raiders. Raiders are also valued now at so much money. Same for the Rams. So it's like, it's weird. Like the Packers and Steelers, they're looking at the Super Bowl history.
Well, just here, do this. Like, let me ask you something. Rank the NFC North in your opinion, most successful franchise to least successful franchise? Just in your opinion, what do you think the most successful franchise in the NFC North is?
In the NFC North?
Yeah, NFC North.
It's probably going to go Packers. Surprisingly, Bears. I don't know how many Super Bowls they won. If they won, like
one,
maybe Packers, Bears, Vikings, Lions. But
yeah,
I could.
That's what I would say.
But you can make an argument without the Super. I don't know. That's what I would
Right,
say.
but that's what you'd say. Rank the most successful AFC North franchises.
Well, it's pretty easy. You're going to go Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, Browns.
Rank the NFC East most successful franchises.
If I did NFC East, I'd say the Commanders had squads. The old Redskins teams.
Yeah. Multiple Super Bowls.
How many? 2 or 3?
I think 2.
I think 3.
Could be 3. It's not 1.
They've been pretty dog shit. So I'd probably go Cowboys, Giants, maybe Eagles, Commanders. Traditionally, but also the Cowboys haven't sniffed it. The Cowboys are living off what? All those old teams.
Right. It's only franchises that have little or no Super Bowls that calculate it in any other way.
Yeah.
Like Vikings fans, we're more successful than the Bears. It's like, are you? The Eagles are, in my opinion, the least successful franchise in the NFC East.
Washington has 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl this year, they have less Super Bowls than everybody in the NFC East still.
Well, I guess it brings into discussion. Super Bowls matter. Recency is a thing too. The Giants are interesting because they've won it over an interesting period, right?
One title every decade for 4 decades.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that to me holds a lot of weight. Again, the Cowboys, dude, you won 3 out of 4 in the 90s. You haven't sniffed a Super Bowl.
Right.
30 years. So what are you? But again, the Eagles have, in the last, let's say, 20 years, the Eagles have played in 3 Super Bowls, won 1.
Yeah.
This is my feeling on the NFC. I think something funny or ridiculous or stupid is going to happen in these playoffs, because I think you definitely have some question marks with I believe in the Eagles, but I think there's some question marks. I still don't understand what's going on within the team. You have the coach arguing with the position coach yesterday. It's like we had the whole thing last week with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, and then other guys are saying stuff, and then they're retracting
Nick Sirianni doesn't have control of anything because he's a fucking clown. That's what's going on.
So my point is this: it could get real interesting come playoff time. They keep winning games because they have a nice squad. I like their squad, but is that locker room just a boiling point ready to explode? I don't know. Is that locker room my daughter, and you see she hasn't gotten the nap today, and you're like, okay, if I don't get her home for that nap, shit's about to get stupid. Is that going to happen in the NFC title game?
What I think a better comp is to me it's Sirianni. To me, Sirianni was getting clowned by his own quarterback in the Super Bowl. For all the things we love, and for all the things people like to say about Dan Campbell and this coach and that coach and the way people want to play for Tomlin, Sirianni is a fucking clown. So to me, when you talk about It's not Isla's out of control. It's a fucking crackhead dad. Isla's just like, I want to eat. And you're like, cool. I'm going to Applebee's fucking from unlimited margaritas. Don't burn the house down. She's like, I'm 2.
Yeah. But like yesterday, what are they even what's the argument over? He went over Jalen Carter. Like what I guess my question is it possible to win a championship if the players don't respect the coach? And I don't know if that's the case, but if it is, it probably is.
Yeah,
I felt like something
is.
like McCarthy won,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what the vibe was with this team.
Sure.
But if I said to you right now, give me your top 3 teams to win.
The title?
Order. Yeah, 3. Give me 3.
Bills.
Okay.
Chiefs.
Okay.
Third one's really tough. Like honestly, I want to say that team still comes out of the AFC, but I think the Chiefs or the Bills come out of the AFC. So I got to go with an NFC team. I mean,
do you have more comments on the Packers over the Lions and Eagles? I feel like that's what you're debating in your head.
Yeah, because I do and I don't. I think they have better. I think they have the best coach of the 3, the best quarterback of the 3. They don't have the weapons, and they won't have a home field. But I have more faith in the Packers beating the Lions inside in a division game, in an NFC Championship game, than I do of them beating the Eagles on the road in Philly, but they would probably have to beat Philly just to get there. So that's kind of the debate for me. Just like matchup wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The matchups for sure matter. Sometimes it's nice when you don't
like
have
I think
pressure.
I think I like the Lions at home against Philly. But I like the Packers in Detroit against the Lions. But I like Philly at home against the Packers.
I can see that. I get that.
To me, that Lions team at home in a playoff game, I think you get a game like yesterday against the Bills. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is Josh Allen. And I don't think that they can keep up scoring wise.
Okay. And then the follow-up with that, which QB, we talked about 3 interceptions to lead the show. Which QB between between Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, and
Jordan Love,
who also
do I trust the most?
No, which QB is more likely to have a 3-pick playoff game?
Jared Goff.
You didn't even hesitate. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah,
I tend to agree. I
think almost what makes the Eagles susceptible to losing is that Jalen Hurts will never throw a 3-pick game in the playoffs because they'll never allow it to be that kind of game. Now, listen, I am not the world's biggest Jalen Hurts fan, and I have predicted a lot. I've predicted a lot of playoff meltdowns. I don't know if anybody remembers. You can go back on this show to me calling the Carson. I think I said Carson Palmer was going to have 5 turnovers and he had 6. But I think that's almost what makes, Jared Goff threw 5 picks in the Houston game and they won?
At least 3 or 4. At least 4.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts will never have that game. But in a way, it's why I like Detroit in a home game. It's like they're just going to try to control the ball. They're going to try to play Jalen Hurts, old Goff style. Like, don't throw it unless they're wide open. It's fades down the sides. It's flats. It's bubble screens. It's, pick plays. It's the occasional 55-45 ball to A.J. Brown. It's safe. So I don't think, but then at the, listen, it's fucking early here. What is it? It's 8:08 a.m. If you're listening to this on Pacific time, I feel bad for you. Crack a beer. But, Eli Manning's greatest moment in his career and one of the all-time greatest moments in the history of this sport was a fucking reckless throw. It was reckless. Now, he's a football genius and a football savant, so he balanced, he did the reckless math in his head. Well, if there's a time to be reckless, if there's a time for me, if I've trained my whole life to lay down when a guy has got my shoulder pad so I don't get hurt, but to be able to shut that sixth sense off and say, it's the Super Bowl. You don't lay down in the Super Bowl. And sometimes you throw the ball in the middle of the field to fucking no one because just like, this is what you got to do. So like, there's some part of that to me that like comes out in the NFL playoffs. You're going to have those moments. So yeah, to me, it's Jared Goff and then it's Jordan Love and then it's Jalen Hurts to throw 3 picks. But in a way, it's one of the reasons I don't love Jalen Hurts.
Because he's too conservative.
I think that the Eagles, it's not even that he's too conservative. I think the Eagles don't really trust him that much. And they're too conservative. And maybe they're and listen, maybe they're right to not trust him that much.
They also have Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, they also have Saquon Barkley. They have a good defense.
Yeah.
But don't forget, Tua is a thing. Like, Tua is a thing that exists for us. Because Nick Saban pulled Jalen Hurts out of a national championship game.
It is crazy to think that all went back to that. Yeah. It's college, though, man.
Yeah, it's college.
It was 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
All I'm saying is he played the whole year. Why did he play the whole year? Why did he come out in that moment? I'm not saying it was about clutch. They're getting
their ass kicked and
Yeah. It has nothing to do with clutch. What it has to do with is you're Alabama. You can play mistake-free football and fucking roll in the regular season.
I definitely tend to agree that Goff would be my 3 interception guy. I think they have the most pressure for sure. The Lions and Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Like, they have the most pressure to make it to a Super Bowl of those 3 teams for sure. Then obviously the Eagles would be second. And the way Packers are playing with house money, nobody really talked about them, dude. Nobody talked about them heading into the season.
We both picked them to go to the Super Bowl.
Besides us. I'm saying besides us.
I know.
Nobody put anything into their playoff last year, even though they beat the shit out of the Cowboys in the road.
We got to be ride or die Packers fans at this point, right? Because, like, dude, if the Packers go to the Super Bowl, we're clipping the preview, turning that into a fucking thing. Did your favorite sports podcast 2 hosts pick the Packers to the Super Bowl?
It was all Lions and then Eagles. And then you get these stray Cowboys people.
Niners,
of course. Yeah, well, keep winning, Cowboys. By the way, that'll be great for Mike McCarthy's job security.
Yeah, thank God. And the Jets too. What like
Bro.
not for the coaching staff, but like what do you do? Like I saw a great meme. I forget what it was, but it was like Aaron Rodgers and the Jets when they're officially eliminated from playoff, and it was just I think it was like the Dream Team or something like that. Like it was like Montana and Rice. There's a picture of like Montana and Rice. It was like Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers once they've been officially eliminated from the playoffs.
They're in a really bad position. Like the Jets, like I'm talking, you can look at the future on teams. They're in such a worse position than before they got Rodgers.
Yeah.
Such a worse position. Everything they do is wrong. Like, who's Zach Wilson even play for now? Who's he back up on?
I think he's out of the league, isn't he?
No. He's not out of the league. He's a backup. He's Broncos backup.
Ooh.
You better hope Bo Nix doesn't get hurt. Not that Bo Nix, like, he has his bad games like yesterday.
Now, how about your boy Gino going down? What's going to happen in the NFC West?
Man, come on. The Rams, baby. They're in first now. What? I never doubt Sean McVay. They're a team I wouldn't want to play either.
Yeah.
Like, they have playoff experience. You have two very skilled receivers, a defense that's pretty good, Super Bowl winning quarterback, Super Bowl winning head coach. Yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with the Rams either, man.
Mess with the Rams, you get the horns.
That's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Whose house? Not the Rams. I'll tell you what, when I see these Chargers and Rams games on TV, you're like, God damn, are you guys ever gonna get a fan base? I was that Tampa game last night. I was like, man, there's not gonna be Bucks fans there. There's not gonna be Chargers fans. Where's my girl Marianne Doe? Where's she at?
Where's that dough at?
Let's get things wrapped up here.
Yeah.
I know you got. I can hear your phone buzzing. 310-359-8365. That's the hotline.
You can follow me on all social media at Joe Prano. If you want some fun right now, go to my TikTok or my Instagram Reels. I've put up a couple posts solely to trigger some Yankee fans, and it makes me so happy because I know their playbook. It's like I know their counter punches before they throw them. So check out some Mets Yankees stuff on TikTok, on Instagram. Follow me on all social media at Joe Prano. Come see a show. Got a couple shows coming up in LA. And then, of course, I got Last Best Comedy in Bozeman, Montana at the end of January. If anybody out there in Bozeman or near Bozeman is around, slide in the DMs. Probably going to do some snowboarding again when I'm down there. And get ready to confirm a couple of other shows. So stay on my Instagram. I always put my shows in my bio.
Word. Cool. All right, guys. You know what to do. You know where to follow us. We'll see you guys on Friday, I guess. Have a great week. And as always, stay dirty.